Welcome to Mic Drop with Julia, where we get to see a person behind the title. Today, I'm very happy to welcome Stephanie Zhang, who is a managing director and the global head of AI and data governance product for JPMorgan Chase. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let me ask you a question. When you reflect back on your career, what is one story that always makes you feel proud and just lights you up?
Oh, great questions. Before I was in AI, so one of the story that was earlier in my career that always lights me up is when I worked in the infrastructure department at a large financial services firm. So I was responsible for identity access management, which drove really critical services like authentication, authorization, and email routing. And the most rewarding part of the role was during a major merger in my career there. We had to deal with 17 mergers, acquisitions, and spin-offs. And each time when we do so, the very first thing is to ensuring that we have the universe of the people converge together and be able to authenticate and do work and be able to collaborate. So during one of these major mergers that involved multiple companies, we had to integrate massive amounts of data across different companies, which of course have their own identity access management systems to ensure completely seamless user access. So it's very complex. And I remembered how we went through the experience is that we literally had to go through what's the least worst solution, laying out the architecture and connectivity of the networks, and almost like brain surgery, looking at every single possibility of things that might go wrong and come up with multiple options. And that really required people from multiple disciplines to participate in this. So the complexity of this task really taught me how to scale and how to automate process, because none of this could be done by human, right? And the importance of also transforming both the business process and technology, because the way we source data involves business process as well. So as we're changing technology, we have to come up with process change and start training people before the cutoff as well. That really also taught me that people play a really key role in transformation, and it's not just about technology, whether it's the users of technology, the tech teams, that's the engineers about it, to create the solution, and the business leaders. All needs to be on board with the change and work together.
I couldn't agree more.
So,
And
yeah.
I've been through several mergers and acquisitions. And when you have multiple people coming in and multiple people going out of an organization at the same time, I know the complexity of it because my peer was dealing with that and we had all kinds of conversation, and it's an incredibly complex problem. Because as you said, you have multiple access management system coming together and everybody wants everything to go smoothly on the first day and get your emails and get your access and not have to spend days figuring out what went wrong. So yeah, I feel for you. That was a very tough job that you had. We techies, we want to have technology solve everything. And it's a very big learning and kind of teaches you humility as well. That no, you can't solve everything with technology. It's people, and you have to work with people, and you have to bring different people in and change the process. And nobody ever likes changing business process. So, second question for you is, imagine you're standing in the room of data management professionals. What advice would you give them?
I think if I could offer one piece of advice, it would be this: always think about the bigger picture. Right? So it's easy to get caught up in the technical details and the intricacies of sort of data. Now that I've moved on from infrastructure to AI and data in the last several years, I think it's easy to get caught up in these technical details and missing the big picture. And for example, we often look at data governance from different stripes of data risk and started digging in really deep in that, but forgetting to look at the bigger picture, how sometimes country obligations are more than just one risk stripe. And if we're actually looking at it from a bigger picture as to what metadata is driving these processes, we could come up with solutions that is much more streamlined, bigger sort of impact, because especially now talking about AI, data governance is so important now to ensuring the data integrity and quality for AI. We need to think about the outcome. What are we doing this for, right? And how this work aligns with the bigger business goals as well. We now need to get involved with people, not just from the governance folks, not just from the users, but what is this overall thing we're trying to do? It was the business goals. We want to accelerate AI ML, but we want to do it in a trustworthy way. We want to do it in a safe way. So now how do we do governance? So I would say encourage our data professionals here to engage with the business leaders and the stakeholders across the board and understand their pain point and bring these perspectives into our solutions.
Start with the why. That's whole, why are we doing it? Because accelerating AI and ML, it's a great goal, but why? What is it? What value does it bring to the business? Because just doing it for the sake of doing it and kind of getting more knowledge, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to deal with it, but it's not why is it needed for the enterprise and what value it brings. And that's a bigger picture that helps you to even know which way to go. Because engaging with AI and ML, there is so many things you can do. What should you do?
Exactly. And then it's also about identifying the cross stakeholders. And it's all about collaboration, right? The creative process actually work for everyone across the organization, not just tilted towards the control side or not tilted to the data science side. But really, when you look at things holistically, to me, that's where innovation truly happens.
I agree. And actually, one thing that really stands out to me in what you're saying is we do tend, as governance people, to tend sometimes too much towards controls. But again, you can control things so much that nothing happens anymore. It's all very well controlled that you can step outside and innovation doesn't happen. Controls are very important, but they have to be, what's the bigger picture? Why? What it is that we want to achieve? And what are the outcomes that we want to improve or create? And then what are the controls that are needed to actually create and improve those outcomes without creating the other side of it, bad outcomes.
Indeed. I mean, these days with the very complex and then fast changing digital world, I think it's really important to think about what is the control objective and the whys, like you're saying, and now think about new ways of achieving that.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Well, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for coming to my show.
Thank you so much. I just want to say how much I enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for inviting me.